future, talk radio will actually educate, inspire, and make you think. The future is now. Topics and music that affect your life from Universal Broadcasting Network. Tune in at ubnradio.com.
This. Hi, welcome back to Plus This. I'm Kathy Deach, and usually you would hear, and I'm Eva Tingley. But our poor Eva is bedridden, like cannot get out of bed. Really, you gotta send her some healing light. She's like down for the count. But the only person that she approved of to join me today as a co-host is our dearest, loveliest, wonderful friend Rosa Graziano is in the house. She's making it happen. I'm going to share this on my private page, guys. Aww. She's kind of like a secret, like, you know.
I'm the secret.
You are the secret. You're totally the secret. So this has been a guest that I have wanted on the show since we started. She's a dear friend. She's a dear friend of my family. She's dear friend of friends who I consider family.
She's fierce.
And she's fierce. So it's Jackie Ms. Funk Lopez. Fawad, I think, is her now / Fawad married name. She's very excited about that. So we're so happy to have her joining us today. And she's got quite a story. She got stuck in traffic, so hopefully she'll be swooping in just in time to come sit with us.
Doesn't she work? Where does she work? At UCLA? Is that what's
it's one of the places she works. I mean, she has a dance company, Versastyle, that also is like taking off and has its own like brand and following. And it's amazing. I've seen them several times. They're unbelievable. They played at the Ford. Have you seen them?
I saw the videos. I saw the videos and the YouTubes of her, and I was like, oh my god, this one's.
Yeah, she also
I was like, why don't I know?
Yeah, and she also like does philanthropy work with our dear friend Monica Rosenthal's Florist Foundation. So like she is like arts ed, everything. Her story is incredible. She is, you know, such a story about how like the art saved her life. Oh, and my God, I just have wanted her here because her story, and she is a hip hop queen.
When you sent me the videos of her, I was like, she is popping and locking and plus.
Yes.
Plus popping and locking.
Yes.
I was like, I literally text Kathy. I go, my joints are hurting watching her. I don't know how she does it, but she's my inspiration like nobody's business because she is. And not only battling. Like, I didn't even know battling was still even a thing.
Oh,
she
yeah.
battles.
Yeah.
And I'm assuming she's battling with the husband in those videos. Is that the husband who's like her dance battle partner?
Lee is her partner, yeah.
But is he the battle partner?
He is on her team. He wouldn't be the person she's battling
No,
with.
not against. I'm talking about like together.
Yes, together.
Okay, I assumed it was him because there was one moment where a guy, okay, I have to ask her.
So guys, also if you haven't seen any of our postings on YouTube, on Facebook with YouTube video footage, we're just so afraid. We just got back on live stream on YouTube, so we don't want to like have any infringement on any content that's on there. So she sent us all these links, and I was like, we can't play them because we're just too scared. But we posted the heck out of them on our Facebook page. So if you're watching on YouTube, you can go to our Facebook page, or you can Google Versastyle, and they're amazing.
And so the links are all.
Oh, yeah. Links.
Check out the links because the dancing is amazing.
She's
it really
unbelievable.
Is. Yeah.
And we're gonna
and the
talk
kids.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
Yeah. And that's like a whole, we'll get into the whole bag of donuts with her.
In it.
For sure.
So
for sure.
Good.
She's such a.
I was in it.
But
I follow dance videos and stuff like that. That's like a thing for me.
I know this about you. You know, like my first trip out here in 2000, you made me go to a hip hop exercise class together.
Oh, that's me on the reg.
Yeah.
That's the only way you're going to get me to an exercise class.
Totally. It was a Gold's Gym. I'll never forget. We went in there. I was like, and you were like, this isn't the regular person. This isn't the regular person.
I was so upset because I want you to have a good experience.
Really upset. And he was very good, but very hard. And if you remember, I almost puked.
Really? Oh my God. I'm forever stalking the local adult hip hop exercise classes because those are the only ones that I'll go to. I recently have been taking one that I've been obsessed with, and I go. It's like my faithful, I go. So I was feeling so great this one time, and I was like, I'm going to go for the second class.
Yeah.
But then I realized the second class is all the young girls Because I thought I was all that. Like on the first class, I was like, look at me, Beyonce backup dancer.
By the way, we were Beyonce in 2002. Like you and I were
I lip sync in the mirror. Like I think I'm on tour. Cut to, I see the next class and it's like a whole, now we're talking. Now I'm like, there's a lot of people in this class. And the teacher's all up on top, like doing the like wink in the mirror at me. Like who's the big girl in the back trying to keep up? I was like, that'd be me. And I'm A plus in the old people class. But when it comes to the young people class, I'm a C minus.
We've tried to exercise several times together, and we can't get into it right now because we have too much on our agenda.
Sorry, I know.
No. But we also have done water aerobics, what I've talked about on the show with Eva. And I'm going to start crying laughing because literally we were like, how hard can it be? Us a bunch of old ladies. Meanwhile, Kathy's drowning. They're like floating my ass. I literally was like drowning. Anyway, guys.
Freezing water. Crack of dawn because the pool's not open yet.
Oh my God.
Oh my God.
That was one of my favorite things.
And you're like paddle. Yes.
And they kicked, all those old ladies kicked my ass is what they
and
did. So either way, I'm screwed. So whatever.
Well, we're showing up.
We're showing
up.
Right,
people. We're showing up. You don't think
true.
we're showing up, but we're showing up.
Oh my God, it's so good to laugh, Rosa, because this has been such a day. Aww. And, all of these, I'm bringing it down a little bit, but it's because our first topic is sort of about this, so I want to address it. The Al Franken photo came out today. Too. And, it's just hard. It's just hard that it's so universal. And but I also feel like it is nuanced. Right? And you can't vilify everybody. Like the planet is not an asshole, right? Like everyone's not an asshole. So we have to. The only way I've really been dealing is I've been turning it in on myself and been like, when have I been a shit?
Bravo.
Like when
That's
have
how I feel.
And
I'm a shit a lot.
Do you know? I remember in college. Rose and I went to college together, guys.
I know exactly what you're going to say right now. Oh my God.
I hope you do remember.
Does this have to do with the show?
No.
Oh, I thought you were going to.
No.
All right, go ahead. I thought it was going to.
No, that's crazy.
I thought you were going to talk about a Mikado experience, but go ahead.
Oh, that's like a whole other thing. But as far as like sexual harassment-y stuff that I've been looking at, like there was a thing that we did in college where it was sort of like a fad. I don't know if you remember this.
It's called orgies.
Where I didn't participate in orgies, unfortunately.
The theater department, guys.
I didn't have that.
It was an orgy.
No. A lot of massaging, a lot of massage chains.
A lot of massage.
A lot of people walking in on people.
I remember going into the theater department being like, okay.
Yeah.
I mean, they're creative, though. They're talented.
I didn't really have that. But what I did do was I learned what a taint was when I was...
That was... I'm sorry.
I know, it's crazy.
How did you get...
Listen, I was very sheltered.
Wait, I'm sorry. Sexual harassment, and then at what moment... that you learned about taints?
I learned about taints. I don't know. Someone explained what it was to me. And then after that, we would do this thing where we would goose people, but like go way under. Do you remember that?
Oh my God.
I don't remember that.
Nobody's touching my...
It was like a thing. And it was a thing that I did often and was very good at.
You did to other people?
To boys all the time. All the time. And half the time, actually, I would say probably most of the time, people thought it was hilarious.
I went full Hail Marys. And,
but I'm sure that there was someone that really didn't like it. And I don't. So this is what I'm saying. Like,
I've never done the pantsing. You remember how they used to pants friends?
Yeah,
I'm not into that.
No,
not into the pantsing.
No, because I have that's like yeah. But I will say, like, I'm examining my behaviors that I did a long time ago too. So anyway, so I do feel bad about that, and I feel like that's kind of the work, right? We have to like look at where. Like point if you're going to point a finger, there's 4 pointing back. Like that's what I always say.
Bravo.
So this being said, a big story that came out this week was that Rebel Wilson was harassed by a director on one of her movies. I think she said, and And she came out and she on Twitter like explained the whole thing. I actually have it here. A male star in a position of power asked. Oh, it was a male star that she worked with. Asked me to go into a room with him and then asked me repeatedly to stick my finger up his ass. All the while, his friends tried to film the incident on their iPhones and laughed.
This is so upsetting on so many levels. On so many levels. Yeah.
I repeatedly said no and eventually got out of the room. I called my agent immediately and my lawyer made a complaint with the studio, basically to protect myself in the event that something similar ever occurred. I'd be able to walk out of the job and not obliged to return. So that happened to Rebel Wilson. Listen, she's had a fucking doozy of a year. She had like a huge libel suit against a paper, and she won it. And she gave like all the money to charity. Like it's just she's been like going through it. And this happened, and then people don't believe her.
That's what's even crazier.
Yeah,
that's what's even crazier. This the story itself is just, and I can't say, oh, I've never heard of such a story because,
right,
you know, things happen, and I've heard crazy stories, but it's so funny that that was how people reacted. They kind of thought like she's lying.
Yeah, immediately
they thought she was lying.
You're fat. No one would sexually harass you. Literally. And this article, this author, it's an Australian blog called Mamma Mia, so it's Zara McDonald writes for it. She like really skirts the issue and like lets other people say you're too fat. She never says, basically she says we treat, you know, the Ashley Judds and the Gwyneth Paltrow's one way, but everybody doesn't get the same treatment. I was like, why aren't you saying it's because she's plus size? Yeah. Why are you not saying
why is it a different why is her story is a different story now?
Right. Why are you not coming out and calling it out for what it is? What if people didn't? A lot of people don't read those things.
I think it's fascinating. It's funny that you're even saying that because I feel like majority of plus size women, you know, they're a little bit more well into. I can't tell you how many times I've seen people inappropriately grab their boobs or because they're bigger, you know, they have bigger chests.
Yeah.
And they think it's kind of okay because it's a little bit more.
They're all in the way anyway.
Yeah. And it's a little bit, I don't know. It's interesting how could you not think that she would, that story was not a true story? How is that a response after reading that?
Yeah.
Why is that a response?
That's real specific. Right?
Yeah. Like, why is that a response that your Twitter response after reading that article that she said that would happen? Like she got nothing better to do.
Right.
Like it's embarrassing, by the way, to even admit that happened.
Exactly.
To even have to say publicly, I was put in a situation where somebody wanted me to put my finger in their ass and film it. So let me tell you about that embarrassing situation. Yeah. And then you tell me that it didn't happen and it wasn't
real. And she's
real.
Lying because she's fat and no one would do that to her and she wants to be famous and get attention. She already has 4 million Instagram followers. She don't need to be more famous.
She got nothing better to do.
She's one of the most famous people in the world. If you don't know her, she is from Bridesmaids and
funny.
Very funny. And the Pitch Perfect movies.
Yeah.
We showed a picture of it. Anyway, I just wanted to it's very interesting that all of us, like, people don't believe fat women, and it's really, really annoying. It's really annoying.
Yes, we too get sexually
harassed. It's funny because one person commented, I bet you something happened to her and that's why she gained weight. A lot of people gain weight after being like sexually abused. And I'm like, yeah, but this story happened when she already was a star and she's always looked the way she has. Like she hasn't blown up out of nowhere. Like as soon as she hit on Bridesmaids, she was
I think something that happens too, which, you know, I'm the funny girl and I roll with the punches. I grew up with boys. You know, she's the comedian on set. You know, you think, talk about like a fine line.
Yeah.
That when you're one of the guys, they definitely pushed the limit a little bit too.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if they would have, maybe because they thought she was the funny girl. She's, you know, she can get a little raunchy and fun and whatever. So they just pushed it to a point that it was like, okay, now that was the line.
Yeah.
I'm not going to put my finger in your ass for your friend to film.
Yeah.
Which, just FYI, everyone, that's just not okay. Not on film, at least, from your friends filming it.
Oh my god, that's amazing.
I mean, like,
no, it's so
guys,
bizarre. It's totally bizarre.
Come on,
it's totally
nobody
bizarre.
was like, shut up.
Yeah, totally ridiculous.
Not a good idea.
Totally ridiculous. By the way, Eva's totally watching us.
Eva, we love you.
We love you.
Get
Eva.
better.
Get better.
You're here,
and
I want Kathy to call me Eva the rest of the day.
Oh, I might slip. Another thing that went down that's kind of messed up. Again, another blogger, Dances with Fat, pointed out an article that was written for Entertainment Weekly. Now, I thought this article was going to be some TMZ trash, like the way that it was written in there. And then when I went, I was like, Entertainment Weekly covered this story of Jaime Pressly, who's pregnant with twins, going, I guess she was on the show Mom on CBS, and she's going back. But instead of going back as like a pregnant person,
because she's big,
because she's got twins, she's really carrying. We have a photo of that. They decided that she should be in a fat suit and have a thing about food addiction in order, like, it's like really.
Those are the creative choices.
Wonderful creative choices, guys. Really good.
Because they were like, we're not going to hide her behind a desk.
Yeah, we're being so brave.
Yes. We don't want to be obvious here. So the creative choice that we're going to do, the one-dimensional, we're only going to go so far here.
Right.
Because we're not going to do that one.
Right.
We're going to just give her a food addiction.
Right. Right.
And not only that, make fun of it throughout the whole season.
Yeah, I'm sure. And by the way, she
claims,
this is what she claims. This is what she says. But before this, Entertainment Weekly made a really bad fat joke on top of then saying this, her putting this quote in. They don't make fun, says Pressly. The writers are very careful. For everything we talk about on the show, there's a fine line between what's right and what's wrong and what we can and cannot say. There's sensitive material in recovery. The other women kind of tiptoe around it. They don't want to make Jill feel bad. There's a big elephant in the room, and that elephant is Jill.
It's an oxymoron on so many levels.
It's literally Jaime.
Poverate.
Jaime, give a sister a call.
What do you think?
Hang out with us a little bit.
Do the math.
We're going to talk to you about what body positivity actually means and about the things you don't do, especially when you're not, quote unquote, really overweight. You are somebody dressed up as a fat person, technically.
I was thinking about this today. I feel like doing the whole fat suit joke thing is as obnoxious. God forgive me, as the idea of you guys thinking it's okay to do blackface
or yellowface
or yellowface. I think it's that like that.
I mean,
why
I feel that way.
Yeah, I kind of feel like
I don't know what it's like to be
really
a black person or an Asian person.
What's so funny?
Yeah, I don't think it's funny.
What's so funny?
All those movies that they did back in like the early 90s that thought it was hilarious.
Shallow Hal, is that one of that one?
Yeah.
Why,
I didn't
what
think
is that?
any of that was funny. Never, ever. And so what's interesting is that CBS is the person who's the network that's doing this. And then a big article came out in Vulture magazine, which is incredible. Vulture.com is doing this unbelievable journalism. It's incredible. And they are talking about they really got down and dirty and interviewed a lot of people who did the diversity showcase. So for those of you who don't know Hollywood, there are diversity programs in place at the networks.
Mandatory.
And it is
mandatory that every single person has to go that works for the networks.
Yes. And also that in response to the numbers that have come out in the study of how there is no one really but straight white men getting airtime on TV. So this is in a way to combat that. So to give people voices and visibility and all that. So this thing that was
and it's been going on for years.
Years. It's kicked up a notch ever since that study came out in 2012. So they went back and interviewed people and they were like, oh, it's racist and homophobic. And in this article, extremely fatphobic. Like I was reading it just to read it. Rachel Bloom is one of the judges on it or on the panel or something, or like they have, I don't know if it's like they have mentors. It's Crazy Ex-Girlfriends, Rachel Bloom. And she like went and searched out people. She's like, I've heard this about this showcase. Can you please let me know? I want to take my grievances to the people. And it ended up sexual harassment was involved. One of the major guys got fired. And this big article came out with all these sources. It's really, really well sourced. And people went on record who are not famous people, which means that their careers are at stake. It's kind of extraordinary.
The crazy part of this story is I used to have a food truck in Los Angeles, and I used to do catering, and I used to cater the CBS Diversity Showcases. So I know the people, the players.
Yeah.
And it's really interesting to read it and have a simple perspective and seeing it from one point of view. And it actually did remind me of the college days. There was something to be said about the two people that they talk about in this article, who's the one who runs it, and the director. And from my experience of watching them, I've definitely felt like it was a very Mom Adele, like she definitely was like very attached to the kids, you know, and it being a great showcase and it being, you know, and I've actually done other network showcases and they weren't as tight or as invested in really these guys getting the job or whatever it is, you know, the gigs from there. So they were proud and had pride in it. But it became, and this is what I was saying to Kathy, I was like, you know, it reminds me of back in the day. You're doing a show. Everyone, you're breakfast, lunch, and dinner together. Everyone's like, you lose sight of yourself. And I think the same thing kind of happens on these sets. You know, you're spending so many hours with these people and they feel like family. And there's a comfort zone that suddenly happens and you're like, do me a favor. My friends are going to tape you, put my finger in your ass. Because you're comfortable enough now for that. Now we're good. Now we've been working together. You can put your finger in my ass.
In this article, there was no
tickle my taint.
There was no tickling of the taint in this article, but there was.
That was not a part of the diversity showcase. Circumstances.
That's just her tying it all together as only Rosa can. But there was something that was said, and while hardly any of the participants directly challenged the leaders, sometimes they would let their discomfort be known. For example, when Arnstein insists that's one of the people in charge, Fern Arnstein, sorry, insisted that an Indian actor needed to work at Bombay Gardens instead of Pizza Hut in a skit, or exclaimed after an audition, "I like you, but we already got a fat girl, and we don't need another fat girl, right, everyone?" And the room would erupt in groans.
I don't know what to tell you.
I'm going to play her in the Lifetime movie.
Because she is. She's a broad.
And you said that she's like a plus size woman,
she's
too.
Plus size. Yeah, she's plus size.
So this also was very interesting as you go on. One of the most common complaints against her is that she body shamed participants. Many recalled her doing this publicly to actors such as Saturday Night Live's Kate McKinnon, and it impressed upon them the need to lose weight. Fern constantly reminded us that she cast the original Baywatch, and I think that Baywatch was her physical standard for women, a female writer from the showcase said in 2014. Yet there was a weird math in which beautiful and sexy women couldn't be too beautiful and sexy and yet can be considered funny. The writer also voiced a complaint echoed by many that she harangued all the average weight actors to lose 10 to 20 pounds and bragged to us that she starts eating disorders.
Okay. But again,
yeah.
It's taking out of, because I know Fern personally, I do, and I know her comedy, and I know her, and I'm not saying it's not appropriate or appropriate, but she's.
But just because you wrap up that truth in a joke doesn't mean that truth and what you want out of somebody isn't fucked up. Do you know what I'm saying? And the fact that women are expected to be that thin on television, enough to get an eating disorder, that is what she wanted from people. And to wrap it up in a joke is fine, but that doesn't mean that the bottom line isn't fucked up.
To have known her, so it was very hard for me to read the article because I know her and I knew her personally, and I knew that Fern was the kind of person and is the kind of person that when, you know, made sure that the actors were fed and really mothered them.
Yeah.
And I also know, and I guess I put myself, I'm a wise ass. I have sarcastic things to say,
right.
You know, and when you're in and everyone's trying to top each other when you're in those environments. You got a bunch of actors and people are running the business too. Everyone wants to butt on bumps.
Yeah.
You know, no matter how low they go. Was that a legit, I mean, she said it, so I can't say anything and they're quoting her. So,
right.
But,
yeah.
You know, so I just kind of feel like it's easy to say it's half empty, it's half full. I feel like there is a bigger picture and the whole picture. But I can't speak for the people that felt violated or the people, obviously, for somebody to quote that specifically, that hit a nerve for somebody specifically. So I can't minimize
the
effects of that. So
and also we talked about it. We talked about the it is the straight white male gaze that is running Hollywood, whether you're a woman participating in that or not. And as a woman who's motherly, wanting those kids to have that opportunity and going, if you want to have opportunity, this is what it is. So in that position of power going, I'm just giving you a taste of reality. This is the business we're in. Instead of going, why don't I try challenging that? And that's the thing that is frustrating because I know that it's paved with good intentions and everybody wants to play. But when at the cost of eating disorders, I would challenge that.
Well, we talked about this recently, too, about what, their idea of what diversity is. The fact that they have a mandatory show to do it. And then everybody who works for the companies or the networks have to go from the tops to the bottoms. Yeah. If you're an intern, you got to go. I mean, it's HR department, you got to go. The fact that that's even a thing. And the fact that and even the writing and stuff like that is really just one-dimensional stuff when you're talking about diversity. It really isn't a culturally... It's a show. It's bumps. It's easy jokes. Yeah. There's, it's fat suit jokes. Yeah. There's not the next level of creativity that when you see that kind of comedy or you see that kind of TV show, you're like, brilliant. Yeah. And unfortunately, not that I watch tons of TV, but, CBS is not necessarily known for that kind of content either. I mean, I'm not going to say that, they're not pulling out all the real deep,
but there still is something, still is something else you could do. There still is more depth there, and they're not going. We have to bring Jackie in. I'm so sorry. We're so over. And you know what, Jarvis? We might just take this one break so we can have as much time with her as possible. Come back. We're going to have Jackie Lopez in the seat.
Yes.
You know that 67% of American women are size 14 and above.
You mean they look like this?
Yeah, girl.
So then where are we in television and film?
And where are we in fashion magazines and clothing stores?
Yeah.
So we want to help out entertainment and fashion and media. Catch the F up.
Topics get hot. We want to hear what y'all have to say.
And they will get hot.
Absolutely.
I have a question for you. It's kind of like a dirty little one. So if you had to do a love scene with somebody else famous, who would it be?
Oscar Isaac.
Love how I asked you that and you had an answer right away.
We sang, we laughed, we cried.
You got to go back. No, we didn't cry.
We didn't cry.
Everybody should be able to be seen in, maybe not every single campaign, but let's try to include it in as many campaigns as we can.
Witchy poo, we told you.
We're just putting it in the cauldron for you.
We're going to get the candles. Yeah. People are having sex with us. We need to show that we're part of this society, and being sexual is part of that.
Absolutely.
So tough titty, you're fucking uncomfortable.
Yeah, watch a fat girl love herself.
Applause, applause, applause.
Just us applauding.
Thanks.
So good.
Plus this. Hi, we're back. Hi, our guest made it. She came all the way from the west side, from UCLA campus to be with us. Please welcome Jackie Miss Funk Lopez Fawad. How? Yes, finally here.
I know.
Hello.
Hi, ladies.
Hi.
I'm totally fan gagging right now. I'm like, I was like, is she gonna pop and lock right now? Is she gonna do it right now? Is she gonna do it right now?
We might have
come
to
off
make
so not that person right now.
No, I don't think so.
She's in professor mode. She's like,
she is.
Yeah,
professor.
a little older too, right? So at least when it comes into the dance community and stuff. So
yeah, for sure. Rosa, Versa Style has an open class every Friday.
Yes,
for adults though, like old
for
people
adults,
like me.
Actually, we've been doing it for 11 years now. Every Friday at 7:30.
11 years. Okay, where?
In North Hollywood. It's called Evolution Studios.
Okay.
And it's an open class for dancers who just want to have a good time and particularly have a love for hip hop and house music. Oh my God. Yeah. And it's only $10. And it's just a community vibe where people from all ages and backgrounds come together under one roof and have a good time. So I love teaching. That's the one time I make myself available to the community along with Lee. We make sure to be there and represent and guide our students and the new dancers and people in the community who want to dance. So yeah, that's every Friday.
Now I have to say that I have an inside scoop with Jackie because I have been fortunate enough to work under her program as a teacher and got to watch her very closely work with dancers. And it's really, you're an extraordinary human. And I love the message that you do as you teach dance. As somebody who has been through dance training, it's
not just my hip hop at the gym, guys.
Really
took
level.
A class or two.
It is not something that kids hear, and I wanted to know how did you decide that you could be a professional dancer? I mean, how did that dance career show up for you?
Well, definitely grew up dancing. As a Latina woman, we're always in social, gatherings, from birthday parties to quinceañeras and weddings. And, the social aspect was always a part of my culture. When I went to UCLA, I was realizing that aspect was missing in these institutions. So I was like, you know what? Hip hop, these social forms is just as important as ballet. And
Bravo.
we need it. And it's needed. And also at the time at UCLA, there was only one Latina and 2 Black women. And that was me and the other 2 young ladies.
As students?
As
sorry.
students,
Okay.
yeah.
Oh,
So
wow.
the diversity also was lacking. And I was like, how can we bring some hip hop dance into this department and really expand and really, level it up along with ballet and the differences and what's beautiful about it. I think at UCLA is when I gained my voice, when I realized I have something special going on and I have something to offer and that I could be a professional dancer. That's when it really clicked. Luckily, I had an incredible mentor who you would know. His name is Kevin Kane.
Oh, I might know him.
You
Blood,
would know him.
sangua.
And he gave me some extraordinary opportunities on stage to choreograph and to dance and be free. And that's when I realized, wow, I really love this. But then it's UCLA when I got accepted into the dance department when I realized, I could really make a living off this because I had, an amazing deep experiences. And that's when I started validating myself. And I started thinking and saying to myself, it's okay. It's okay to be a little different. It's okay to be a woman of color. It's okay to be a full-figured woman. It's okay that I'm representing for all the women that don't get the opportunities that I was so honored and blessed to have at that time at UCLA.
Yeah,
so.
and that dance program is a world cultural dance
it's called
program.
World Arts and Cultures and Dance. So it's a dance major still.
So it is.
So you're bringing the world.
I want to think so.
Someone's bringing in
I'm definitely bringing in the hip hop.
Yeah, good. Yeah.
That's definitely the dance of our generation, the dance of me being born in Los Angeles. My parents are from El Salvador, so I'm very familiar with all the Latin dances from merengue, bachata, salsa. But I grew up in Los Angeles too. So, anytime I would hear any kind of hip hop music, I would bop my head and it felt good. So I always had a passion to see the connection between the two. And UCLA gave me that avenue to go deep and research it and be proud of it.
So great. Now, let me ask you, in that UCLA program, were you the only one who looked physically like you?
Definitely.
You were literally the only full-figured woman.
For
Just
sure.
the UCLA program? I would say majority of all those hip hop or any of those dance things. I mean, how often do you really?
Many times. I mean, definitely before that, I was in the industry. I had an agent. I was trying to get I was trying for anything, but right away I would get eliminated just for my luck. And it was a very frustrating time. Plus, at the time, my son was like 1 or 2 years old already. I was a young mom. And I'm like, oh, what am I going to do? How can I make a living? And UCLA, thank God they gave me the opportunity. They were able to see past my weight. And that felt great. They were able to,
It's so great to watch you move, I have to tell you. And it's not just, I mean, we've seen the people do the ballet thing, and
it's incredible.
It's a specific, you really bring it. I was like, wow. She's got. I said before. I was like, I texted Kathy. I was like, how are her joints? How do her joints hurt?
They're so far so good. I mean, I've had an injury here and there, but so far I'm still dancing.
Smooth and it's in, but it's like it's in her soul. You know what I mean?
It is in the soul.
How do you?
But you also dance like someone who respects their history.
Oh, yeah. I mean, the craft is very important to me. The artistry, the level of the craft is important. And once I found hip-hop dance, not only did I love it, I went out of my way to really investigate it, research it. I took a lot of trips to Philadelphia and a lot of trips to New York, trained with the innovators, the pioneers of this dance. And that's when I started realizing, wow, there's technique and foundation in hip-hop, just like there is in ballet. But we're not talking about it. So that's where I took a lot of pride and, hope to bring it in institutions because we need more diversity in these universities too.
Yes, we
See,
do.
if I had a teacher like that, guys,
You would be
I would have been
dancing
a
with
Beyonce
Lisa right
backup
now.
dancer.
You
what
would
I'm
have been
saying.
dancing with Janet
would've.
Jackson.
Janet Jackson.
Yes. who
Miss
has a
Jackson
fierce-
if you nasty.
I mean, it does. We're like mourning it a little bit.
I
We're
am.
so happy that these young girls coming up. Actually, people are like, yes, I would love someone who looks like you to dance with me. But do you find a little bit? I mean, listen, you got your own company. Versus Style is nothing to sneeze at. It's like this unbelievable, gorgeous. I would say even like theatrical hip hop dance.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
there's
That's
this
the best way
pulse
to-
of storytelling through it that I think is is very unique. And so it's not like you're not doing it on some level, but there is a little bit like, shit, I could have gone out with Janet.
It doesn't just feel like hip hop. I have to say, it doesn't just feel like hip hop. There is a cultural, it has like African. It has a little bit of everything.
Definitely has
it has
African, Lindy Hop.
It has
salsa, bachata,
Bravo,
West African, you name it, Afro-Cuban. Everything that I feel was hip hop. We just didn't call it hip hop. But all these social forms are an evolution in what we call hip hop today, right? So, it's a little bit of all that. And I just feel that Los Angeles is this beautiful melting pot of many things. How in my dance company could I portray that message and hopefully give kids hope by the people that they see on stage, from the color of our skin to the weight and the different sizes. I want to inspire the next generation of the possibilities.
Oh my God, you probably have changed so many lives. I'm a piece of shit. I just realized.
She really has changed. I'm
just looking at you and I'm like, oh my God, in so many years from now, the kids are going to come back and honor you.
They already are.
I'm sure.
It's full circle now. I started a junior company.
So many lives.
And now my whole junior company are the professional dancers. And they're all from San Fernando, East LA area. Young dancers that would never think they would amount to dance. And now they're dancing on stage. And I love that we go back to the schools, to the same areas that they grew up. And then those kids see, the different dancers that I have, from Patty to Jackie or Cynthia or, Ernesto. And they're like, wait, I could do that? Good. And it's my job to then speak on it now. And I have such incredible dancers. I want to spread awareness about the definition of what is dance, what is to be together, what is community, and don't let the external define it. If you have a passion for it, do it. And nothing ever stopped me. So
now you had an entire concert that was based around gift boxes.
Yes, Box of Hope.
Box of Hope. That was really fucking awesome. And at the end of that performance, you got engaged to with a box.
I got my own little box. So me and my husband now
married. We have a picture of them. They're gorgeous. How beautiful.
We created this show called Box of Hope. There's a lot of BS going on in our communities and our society, obviously in every level. I wanted to just bring a show that brings some awareness and some hope to the audience. And I was so in that show, so in it, performing with my husband. We have like this love duet and all this robot duet. And then at the very end of the show, we're in the lobby, and you're right. He's like, everybody opened a box. Because at the end of the show, we make sure to give everyone a box with a message of hope inside. So people could also leave with something, right? A memory. And he's like, everybody got a box except for you. And I have a little box for you. And I'm like, what? Then all the dancers and everybody in the community started like yelling or laughing and I'm like, what's going on? And then I realized he's about to propose, and he did. He proposed. He's like, I have a little box and
it was beautiful.
I want to marry you.
Oh my God.
And it's beautiful. FYI, we've been together. This December is going to be 12 years. So this man has helped and has raised my son, has helped me raise my son. We've together, created a company that we felt was different and unique to Los Angeles and needed. And we've done it all. So when we did our vows and got married, I was like, I've been doing this, but it definitely makes it extra special.
And you had a party.
And I had an amazing
I got videos
party
from all kinds of guests sending me videos, obviously wanting me to be very jealous that I was not on the dance floor with y'all.
Not fair. I'm so sorry.
You were honestly, and you, like, every photo of you is literally like a picture of an angel. You are glowing from every, and we should say that Breezy Lee has his own, I mean, y'all are like legendary. Like, you don't go by hip hop names in the hip hop community unless like people take your ass seriously. Is all I want to say. So
we need hip hop names.
We do. We're gonna come up with our own hip hop names. Give us hip. Yeah. Give us hip hop.
Well, Miss Funk.
I take pride in Miss Funk. At every level.
Yeah. So like, does that? Because a friend of mine, we were in Hawaii. They bestowed a Hawaiian name, and apparently they were like, "Oh, that's a big deal if someone bestows a Hawaiian name." So. But it has to be from somebody from Hawaii. So do I have to be bestowed my hip hop name from my hip hop community?
Basically, yes.
All right.
Like,
we're gonna show up. I'm gonna make Eva come too. Eva, you're coming. Eva's like,
our young students are always like, they're ready for their AKA, and we're like,
AKA. I don't even know what's called AKA.
Awesome.
I need an AKA.
Yes.
Oh my God.
Yeah, Breezy and I, we got our names from our mentors and teachers once we were like, put our time. They're like,
well, it's like the black belt.
No, there you go.
When you get your AKA as the black belt in hip hop, because I know, guys. Again, I know.
Fingers on the pulse.
Yeah. So hip.
So, what is the next step for VersaStyle? What's happening now?
Right now, it's coming to an, the year has ended. We were very blessed to go on a few tours and travel around the world and do amazing shows. And that's a dream come true, to be able not to just perform in our hood, our city, but to also take it around the world.
At the Ford Theater, by the way.
Yeah.
We were just at the Broad stage too.
Nice.
We were the first hip hop dance company in that stage, and that meant a lot.
How many people are in the dance company? Like average?
14 company members. When we travel tour, I can only do 8 or 9, depending on the budget and the presenters that bring us out. What's next? I just want to continue traveling with them, keep booking the show. Our latest production is called Box of Hope. This is the one I want to run with. It's perfect, I feel, in a sense where no matter what your background, where you're from, people really get a sense of hope, and a hope for youth, a hope for what's possible, and the beauty of what we have to say as inner city young, loving Los Angeles hip hop dancers.
Why didn't you become like a mayor or something? I'm like totally. I'm like,
I'm
yes, I vote. I don't know.
I'm not a mayor, but I'm definitely
something.
In this
I need you to be politically involved.
Well,
I need you, AKA politically.
Yes. I mean, she works on.
In
We
our
talked
way.
about it. You might have been parking your car, but we did talk about you working with the Florist Foundation.
Yes.
So, tell us a little bit about that in case people don't know.
Yeah, the
They
Florist
don't know.
Foundation is a nonprofit organization that basically gives different grants to different nonprofit communities that want to work in the arts and mentor the youth. And we also have our own programs, and we created our own pipeline that became a reality after 10 years, because I realized the same kids that I met in middle school when I was a middle school teacher are now the ones working for our organization. And it's an amazing organization. I have fabulous mentors, Monica Rosenthal and Kevin Kane, who paved the way for me. And of course, it's a dream come true to be able to run an organization that is aligned with my passion and beliefs for youth and for Los Angeles and for what's possible. And to know that there's people out there that are willing to support that. I'm 38, still dancing every day, making a living off what I love to do. And it's a blessing to do that.
Can I ask you a harder question?
Yeah.
Because we've talked about this journey before. What do you think, as far as the relationship you had with your body, stopped you the most? What was like the barrier as far as like what your body looked like or felt like, or even how people perceived it? What was like probably the biggest thing that I know we've talked about you pushing to the other side of something, and I was just wondering like if you could talk about that process a little bit, especially if there's a kid out there that might feel like they
should have been a hip hop star and wasn't,
or are a hip hop star, and they're having that same thing that they need to break through.
I mean, it came through with time. I'm learning that everyone's process is different, Self-love is something that's so deep that I'm still constantly searching for that meaning of that and the depth of that, right? I would say in my 30s is when I gained that consciousness that I'm very relevant, that I'm very important, that I have something to offer. I think my 20s was about figuring that out. I wish I had the courage and the knowledge that I have, in my 30s and my 20s, because maybe, I would be doing other things and I would be more daring, I guess, in other ways. But I've always been a pretty strong, resilient kind of woman. Nothing really stopped me. If anything, I was stopped because society or the people booking had their standards and they wouldn't hire me. But I always just kept going and going and going. And I would say, I think the barrier, the thing that stopped me is just what society thinks I should look like or what they think I should be, and to constantly be fighting that on a daily.
We stop ourselves though too. Sure.
Because I'm like, I'll give up and I won't do that. Luckily, I did stop the industry, but I found a mentor. His name is Rennie Harris. He's from Philly too.
Yes.
When I saw his show the first time, it's called Facing Mecca. There was 4 women on stage, and the one in the front was a full-figured woman. My life changed instantly. I'm like, this is what I'm supposed to do. I'm supposed to do live concert, not commercials. It's like, and I'm just trying to always instill that to the artists and my students, that there's many avenues that you could live your passion. It's not just one way. And I just think I was able to overcome that little by little.
I think that people don't even know that hip-hop dancing is a concert piece. Like you can be a concert dancer in hip hop. I mean that people constantly just think of it as like videos or touring with celebrities or like I don't even know that people really realize no, you could Just like with
ballet.
We're definitely
ballet
paving
or
the way
anything
for
else.
that.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
believe we're paving the way for that in Los
I mean, it's still
Angeles.
newer than traditional
Yeah.
dancing. Yeah.
And what
sure.
I love is that you, every step of the way, do have that education part of it so that it's never just entertainment.
It can't. It's very important to educate ourselves and educate our students, because when I dance, I'm also dancing with my parents' legacy, my ancestors' legacy, and then the movement, the dance is so much powerful. And I was able to gain that because I did my research and I became aware that I'm more than just this body. When I dance, I'm dancing for my grandma, my aunt, my mom, and their struggles and what they went through for me to even be in the States. It's a big deal. So I try to encourage that, because I feel that when I learned all that, I carry that, and it's an honor and the moment, and the biggest, the strongest, most present woman is present in that moment to perform and give it my all. And I think people then, when I get to that point, they're able to see past the external. They're feeling my heart, my passion.
I mean, that I've seen you live several times, and I brought to tears every time. And there is something that you give, and that you give up. You let us in, totally vulnerable. And I don't think people also think of hip hop that way.
No,
they don't think of it as a vulnerable.
And that's why it's an honor to be at UCLA and to be able to build a curriculum. I'm the first woman of color, Latina to be specific, to be teaching at UCLA and to be teaching dance and building hip hop dance. That would have never existed when I was there. It didn't exist. Rennie brought it. Then Rennie basically passed it on to me, and I got very blessed to take on that position. And now I'm trying to flip the script and make these kids think a little differently, and the institutes think a bit differently about this dance we call hip hop. Because at the end of the day, if we do our research, it's just African and Latino dance evolved to the extreme, to this other to this other side. I can't imagine what hip hop will look like in 20 years. And I'm excited. And how do we also embrace the evolution of it? But it's definitely the culture that I love, because hip hop brings every background together under one roof. And I always say it's needed in politics. It's needed everywhere, because it's the one dance culture that no matter what, you like hip hop music, you like house music, we're all bumping our heads, and it feels really, really good.
It's so true. I hope that you can teach Eva and Rosa and I when we come.
No, I would love to give you guys a private. I'm almost down whenever you guys want.
Private. I don't play.
So tell everybody where they can find you, where they can find VersaStyle. Want everyone who is inspired by this to go and look up all your videos
and vote for her, because I'm telling you right now, I'm
when
going to
she
make
runs
her
for
run
office,
for
for comptroller.
Yeah, I don't know about that. I don't know about that, but
When she's on the
definitely
school board
my next
voting.
dean of UCLA.
Believe it or not, my next goal would be a one-woman show. I'm ready to share my story. I'm ready to take it to that level where I'm able to put dance and act,
tell
and
your story.
tell my story, because it's unique and it's needed, and that's
you're
the
there.
only way I'm going to empower all the next generations
Front
of
row
women.
seats. Front row seats.
Yeah, and you're there.
For sure.
I'd be like this.
The workshop, the readings, whatever. We're there.
But
where
for
can
more
they find you?
information, you could go to my website for the company. It's www.versastyledance.org. And also on Facebook or Instagram, we're under VersaStyle LA. And if you're particularly interested in my story, who I am, I'm under Ms. Funk, MISSFUNK 79, because that's the year I was born.
On Instagram.
On
and
Instagram.
it's Versa,
and
VERSA.
Style. So
Style.
like a versatile dancer, but I wanted to give it that hip hop twist.
Style.
Versa Style.
I love it. I'm so honored that you came by and busted your ass to get here.
No, I'm so sorry that, traffic.
Don't even apologize. This has been, you've blessed us. We're blessed, and it's amazing. We're taking off for Thanksgiving. By the way, we didn't get to our article, but guys, we did write an article about dealing with Thanksgiving people looking at your plate when you're sitting at the table. So enjoy that. We've posted that too. But thank you, Eva, for letting us have Rosa here. And thank you for coming in. Thank you, Jarvis, for a great show. And so we'll see you back in 2 weeks right here at Plus This. Have a Thanksgiving, guys.
Ciao, tutti.